What's up, y'all? This is John and Mike back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast, live on Millions and as part of the Fans First Sports Network. Tonight we are doing the third episode in our series about the craziest season in college football history. Jackpot, What Happened in 2007, Part 3. Tonight we're talking about weeks 4 and 5. But before we get into that, how you been? What are you drinking?
Took the family up to Michigan to see my family. We're gonna go to Airbnb even further up north in Michigan, off of kind of near Lake Huron. So that'll be fun for the kids. Not gonna be drinking anything, so we're gonna be doing enough up there this next week or so. But yeah, as far as what I'm drinking, I don't have anything with me right now because, like I said, we're gonna be doing enough of that next week. How about you?
Good, dude. It's been a great weekend. Went to the Burt Kreischer Comedy Festival on Friday after working in the yard all day. Disc golf tournament and pool party yesterday. Worked in the yard again all day today. So I've been outside since Friday at 8 a.m. But it's the time of year where it's okay to be outside. I might be. I honestly don't know if I'm sunburnt, and I know I'm probably dehydrated, but it's the summer. You're supposed to be.
Yeah, we
Uh,
I was saying before that I thought that I'd get a reprieve from triple digits and feeling like just like Satan's armpit in Savannah, but except for yesterday, it's felt like 100 degrees each day with like the heat index and whatnot. Not quite as humid as Savannah, but it's not really that far off. Um,
so
but
is it like the elbow pit or the knee pit?
um, so if Savannah's like the taint, then maybe just Detroit right now is like that part between your stomach and like fupa.
Oh, okay, okay. So not really much better at all.
No, no. Although the sun doesn't go down to 9:30.
Sun's not down here, I don't think. No, still sunny out here.
Yeah, it's wild.
But if you're watching live or somehow hearing this part again, my computer crashed 10 minutes into the episode, so we're starting it back over. Um, yeah, so always
Yeah, and
always something with technology.
if the audio sounds different on my end, I'm doing it off my phone. I wasn't able to pull up Zoom on my mom's laptop, and I just forgot to bring a laptop. So uh, it may sound a little bit off, maybe a little bit behind, but we'll power through it.
All right, you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're gonna start off with the week 4 poll. Things shook up quite a bit for week 4. USC moved up to number 1, LSU to number 2, Florida to 3, Oklahoma 4, West Virginia down to 5 from 1, which,
Oh no, they were down one. It went from 4 to 5. Yeah,
oh, 4 to 5. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
Oklahoma.
6, Cal, something that I don't think anyone said in any sport in the better part of a decade.
Right.
7, Texas. 8, and Ohio State University. 9, Wisconsin. 10, Penn State. 11, Rutgers. So you put some notes in here about Rutgers because you were paying a lot more attention to them in 2007 than I was. So you said they had famous feminist Ray Rice and Vol for Life Greg Schiano. His first stint at Rutgers, notably first stint at Rutgers because he's back. Um, so his second stint in this is a Yankee name. I need you to help me out.
Piscataway.
Piscataway. Okay.
Piscataway.
Is known for
Yeah.
his role in complaining about Harbaugh along with Ryan Day. Good news for Greg Schiano. He can find someone else to complain about.
Yeah.
Who do you think it's going to be?
Hmm. I mean, I would hope it's Dan Lanning. That would be fun because Dan Lanning would just fight back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking Lanning or James Franklin because who
James
really
Franklin,
likes James Franklin?
nobody, but he doesn't hurt anybody.
I mean, he hurts everybody but Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair. Yeah, he'll probably hurt Rutgers pretty bad. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
So South Carolina moved up to 12, Oregon 13th. Matt Ryan's Boston College 14, Clemson 15, Bama 16, Virginia Tech 17, Louisville moved down to 18 after losing to Kentucky, Hawaii up to 19, Big 12 Texas A&M at 20, Kentucky at 21, Georgia at 22, USF, notably not SF, up to 23 after starting 2 and 0. Two games in 3 weeks. Okay.
Yep.
Nebraska moved down to 24 after getting killed by USC, and then Big 12 Mizzou at 25 after being 3 and 0.
With Chase Daniel. Yeah.
Yeah. That I want to go back and watch some of their 2007 games.
He put up some stats. I mean, there was a reason why he was in the NFL for as long as he was. Not playing, but he was in the NFL nonetheless.
Hey, more time in the NFL than I've been.
Yeah. He's got a pension and he didn't really have to take any hits, so good for him.
Good for him. He can still play with his kids.
And remember who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Um, so in week 4, this is the 2007 Georgia at Bama game, and this was 2007 Bama, Saban's first season there. Georgia won in overtime in Tuscaloosa thanks to a long touchdown pass from Matt Stafford to Mikey Henderson, name that I said I was going to keep an eye on. Um, Stafford
Yeah.
went 19 to 35 for 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. No Sean and Thomas Brown both had 74 yards rushing. No Sean had a touchdown as well. Sean Bailey, 5 catches for 74 yards. Thomas Brown, 5 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. Mikey Henderson, 3 catches, 36, and that game winning touchdown in overtime. Brandon Two was 2 for 4 on field goals, but he did make a 47-yard field goal and missed a 47-yard field goal to he missed
Well,
the
it was to win in regulation, not.
okay. Okay, that was what I was trying to figure out how to ask. Um, Bama was 3 of 15 on third down, and at this point, Mark Richt was absolute money in SEC road games. He was 23-3 in true SEC road games at this point in his career. Um, what are your other thoughts about this game?
No, I mean this is the start of kind of the revenge tour after the South Carolina loss. Obviously, they lose one more game after this, but um, like you saw the makings of what could be a special season for them if they could just kind of keep their head on straight. And notably, Bama did not have the talent that Bama like that we traditionally think of them having the last like what
14
15, 16
years.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this. John Parker Wilson was the only name on this team that I like remember, and that was just because he was on I think like 2 days, like on MTV.
Yeah.
Like
So,
that's it.
I mean, this game was lackluster for a win, which
Yeah,
a win is a win. But like you think back to 2007, everything was crazy, and a lot of people when you think back to 2007 Georgia, you're thinking about the end of the season, and then a few games that we've talked about for Georgia so far, it's just like
yeah,
okay, okay,
yeah.
you won, but did you?
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we got Michigan's first win of the season. We're talking about. So they beat number 10 Penn State 14-9 in Ann Arbor, even when Penn State was good. and Michigan wasn't. They couldn't beat Michigan.
They beat Notre Dame the week before, so this is their second win.
Second win. Okay. Okay. My bad. My
Another five.
bad. Had to get
No,
to
no, it's all
500.
good.
Had to get to 500.
Yeah,
Um, so Ryan Mallett started this game. He was 16 to 29 for 170 yards and one interception. I'm assuming that I can't remember the guy's name. He started the season at quarterback.
Henny.
Yes, I'm assuming he was still hurt.
Yeah, he still had the knee injury with him. Ryan Mallett did have a rushing touchdown of all things in this game.
Notable dual threat quarterback. In the same way
Some are
as
saying he's
Peyton
the white.
Manning.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Michigan running back Mike Hart was the entire offense, 44 carries for 153 yards and a touchdown. This sounds like 2023 Michigan, but I guess we'll just ignore that.
yeah. Well, Michigan would have split it up. Like I think all the other running backs had like maybe 4 carries. So like Mike Hart was the offense in this game. At least in 2023 it would have been split up between Corum and
Edwards.
Don.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe somebody else.
Penn State quarterback Anthony Morelli, which is just the most New England Northeast quarterback name I've ever heard,
Yeah,
had identical numbers to Ryan Mallett, which is just pretty insane in this classic Big Ten game of no offense or joy.
yeah. Yeah, nobody had fun in this game. The only fun part about it was, well, for me, was Michigan winning. But then again, just seeing Joe Paterno just like kind of doing his best president impression, just kind of wandering around, not really knowing where the hell he's at.
Hell yeah. Human Roombas.
Yep.
Michigan State went on to beat Notre Dame 31-14 to bring Notre Dame to a winless 0-4 on the season.
And it
That's,
doesn't get
man,
better for them.
in 2023 or 2024, I should say, if a big name school goes 0-4, the coach is fired
Yeah. Hmm.
immediately.
Yes.
Like that is getting left on the runway Lane Kiffin style. You're done.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Number two beat number 12 South Carolina 28-16 in Death Valley in a game that was never really in doubt. LSU had an awesome fake field goal attempt for a touchdown. The best thing Les
Yeah, I don't know.
Miles did at LSU was fake field goals and punts.
Yeah, that fake field goal, the the holder threw it like behind him, and the actual kicker like caught it and ran it in. It wasn't like a long touchdown. It might have been like 15 yards, maybe 20. I mean, it was long enough, but like just they didn't see it coming at all. It was beautiful.
I think there was one that they did in 2014.
Yeah, it's like the fake
2014, 2015. It was like a fake punt that was a 60-yard touchdown run.
electric.
Yes.
Elect. Yeah, I remember that. That's the one I was thinking it was when just looking at this game, but it was not, unfortunately. But
We
number
would.
nine was Iowa 17-13, another Big Ten game. Just not fun at all. But yeah, the LSU South Carolina game was a lot more interesting.
I Can we get Les Miles to just be a trick play coordinator somewhere in college football? Like that's all we want. Like
Hmm.
don't talk to kids. You know what? You're not even allowed. You can't even be on campus. You're gonna be in a Zoom call with
Right.
somebody in the box, just throwing out trick plays. Every field goal, every punt, throw out a trick play.
Test the grass, eat the grass, all trick plays. That's all he needs to do.
You know what? We'll get some sod put in his front yard from Death Valley for him to just like chew on the sod while he's calling trick plays from his house.
Yeah. It's like in bed like what's his face? Hugh Freeze, right?
Yeah, just don't talk to anybody. Don't even talk to the players. You do
No.
football. You do football, and that is it. You don't get a university cell phone. You do football.
Exactly.
So we had number 21 Kentucky beating Arkansas 42-29. And we're going to talk about Arkansas a lot more towards the end of this series from their 2007 season with a few of the things they did. Auburn actually beat New Mexico State,
Mhm.
this time 55-20. You can never count that as a
Go
guaranteed win
figure.
between those two.
Go figure, right?
Yeah, shocking when I read that bullet. Florida escaped Oxford with a 30-24 win. Tebow ran for a Florida touchdown, or a Florida quarterback rushing record, 166 yards. And at this point, it looks like the Florida team was really only Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin. For the cocktail party we talked
Mhm.
about, it was probably a month or so ago now. It also seemed like that was the entire offense.
Mhm. Yeah, notably not as talented as 2006 nor 2008 for them.
Miami beat Texas A&M 34-17 in Miami. Am I imagining things, or did Miami and Texas A&M have a series recently?
They did. It was the last 2 years.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought. I just want, yeah,
Yeah.
because last year A&M won that game. You know what? I don't remember enough to keep talking about it.
I think Miami won at home, and then Texas A&M won at home. I think each one won their home games. I could be totally wrong. Miami, for all I know, could have won both games.
Yeah, well,
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Pass, so I don't know.
correct, correct. South Florida beat UNC 37-10 in Tampa, which once again, it's not South Florida. That's just going to bother me until we're done with this because, anyways, Boston College beat Army like the unpatriotic traitors they are, 37-17.
Matt Ryan hates
Uh,
America.
do what?
The Matt Ryan hates America.
Matt Ryan hates America. You heard it here first. Virginia beat Georgia Tech 28-23. Navy beat Duke 46-43.
I might, I might have put that in the wrong. That might have been the following week, because maybe. Oh no, no, never mind. Nope, I'm right. I'm mixing up academies. My bad. That's right.
Yeah, I also did not know that Navy could score this many points, but they did, at least at one point.
Yeah,
Number 4, Oklahoma beat Tulsa 62-21 in Tulsa in the odd going to a G5 team. Um, Number 24, Nebraska beat Ball State in Lincoln 41-40 on the last second field goal miss by Ball State, who had a 9-point lead with 12:50 left in the game and choked the game away. Ball State, they're not the real, they're not the real GSU, you know, just kind of.
they're not. And in Nebraska, they missed a 2 point conversion to go up by three. So I mean, at the very least, the Ball State would have made it. They could have tied it if things went the way it probably should have went. But nonetheless, Nebraska escaped with that one.
I don't think we need to put much explanation behind Cardinals not as strong as Eagles.
Fact. Not a birdologist, but it sounds right.
Yeah, we are not birdologists, but Eagles, I believe, are stronger. Jamie, fact check me on that. Kansas beat Florida International 55-3. Oklahoma State beat Texas Tech 49-45. Texas Tech quarterback Graham Harrell was 45 of 66 for 645 yards and 5 touchdowns. Shout out to Mike Leach, who should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. The voting happened last week,
Yep.
didn't get in. It's an absolute travesty because he was 0.3% less on winning percentage than you have to be. That's
Ridiculous. As somebody that's innovated as much as he had, that's a crime.
and what really drives me nuts about it is the NFL Hall of Fame has an innovator wing. Like you cannot have had so many prerequisites for a coach to be in the Hall of Fame. But if you were an innovator and did enough with that, you get in the NFL Hall of Fame. Hey, NFL, do the best thing possible and put Mike Leach in the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, really. Please do.
Put him in a, you know what? Put him in a Bucks. Put him in for the Bucks because he loves pirates. Put a little pirate hat on him.
Yar. Yep.
UConn beat Pitt 34-14. Number 5, West Virginia beat East Carolina 48-7. 6, Cal beat Arizona 45-27. Number 1, USC beat Wazoo 47-14. And number 19, Hawaii beat Charleston Southern 66-10. It's insane that Hawaii and Charleston Southern played a game, being neither of
Wait.
them being very wealthy schools, because the travel either way is ridiculous.
I'm not sure how that worked out. I mean, well, Hawaii was good at the time, and not you know obviously because they were ranked, but I don't know. That's something that may warrant a deep dive on how the hell they afforded that, or one way or another. But not right now.
I'm looking it up. I gotta
Oh,
hold up.
because damn, yeah, I don't know how they would do it. Hawaii's playing at a high school stadium right now.
It was in it was in Charleston.
Are you shitting me?
No,
Was
no.
Charleston?
2007 game was in Hawaii. 2010 game. Nope. Why they have the same game in here twice?
Oh,
Not
okay.
not Charleston Southern stat page need to step their game up.
I have to think Charleston Southern was like a one double A team at that point. I can't imagine them being a like FBS or 1A team.
Yeah, that
I
travels
think they are.
insane.
Yeah. Either
We
way,
think the
that's
new Big Ten's got it hard. Damn.
yeah. Or the ACC, the All Coast Conference.
Yeah. All right. We're
Yeah.
going to hit on a
Uh,
little. What's up?
no, 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 nothing, nothing.
Okay. We're going to hit on the week 5 poll just a little bit. A few of the moves. Florida and Oklahoma flip flopped at 3 and 4. Everything else kind of stayed pat except Wisconsin moved up to 9. Rutgers at 10. Penn State fell all the way down to
Georgia moved
21.
up.
Bama down to 22. Georgia up to 15. Um, Hawaii up to 19. Mizzou to 20. And those are really the notable moves that feature into the rest of the season. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, yeah. Georgia leapfrogging South Carolina with identical records is kind of funny. Um, with South Carolina losing to the number 2 team in the country at LSU at in Baton Rouge. But again, we'll take it.
Yeah, and that I mean that goes back to kind of what I was talking about last week of like it seems like they just took each game individually into account when making the rankings for the next week. There was no well, South Carolina just beat Georgia and they had the same record. So South Carolina should be ranked ahead of Georgia. They just didn't do it.
No, that's really how it was. It was wild that like I felt like after each loss, I pretty much like at this point I knew exactly where everybody was going to be ranked like immediately without like doing any kind of research or anything like that. Like I knew there was the one like Rain Man quality that I had. It was like I can guess the polls well in advance at that time. Not anymore. I used to be able to.
Um so we're gonna go ahead and get into the week 5 games. If y'all hear me burp in a second, I apologize. I've been trying to hold them away from the microphone. Um, so Georgia beat Ole Miss in Athens, 45-17. Ole Miss led 7-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then just completely fell apart. Um, I feel like we saw a very similar game in Athens this year, but we're not going to talk too much about that.
Yeah.
Stafford was 13 to 21 for 144 yards and a touchdown. Thomas Brown 16 carries, 180 yards for 3 touchdowns.
Killer.
That's insane. Um, No.
Yeah.
had 14 carries for 90 yards, adding another touchdown. And without looking ahead, because we already said we're not doing that, one of the running backs had to be top four in receiving on the team this year.
Yeah.
And, I
Easily.
mean,
If not top three, because like
I mean, so the leading receiver for this game was Trip Chandler with 2 catches for 40 yards. Like, I mean, I know Georgia still running back university, but damn, that they could have just renamed the team running back university. Um, Ole
you're not
Miss.
lying. No,
Go ahead.
did Matt Stafford have a game? Did Matt Stafford have a game up to this point where he had like over 200 yards?
Maybe Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably. Yeah.
Maybe. Um, Ole Miss had Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
All time name.
It is Mike Wallace and Dexter McCluster on this team. That's probably the most recognizable names off of any single team that we've had so far.
Yeah, I think it might get more as we go down even like this list, maybe, possibly.
Um, but Ben Jarvis was really the only person to do anything for Ole Miss. 22 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. If any one single player currently carries the ball 22 times for Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin is not happy.
No, I mean, what's his face? The kid that just transferred to Ohio State may have done that his freshman year out of necessity, but that's not what they want to do.
No, no.
Judkins, I'm sorry. I can't believe I forgot his name.
I also forgot his name, so don't feel bad. Vandy goes on to beat Noah Kaniga's future team, Eastern Michigan, 30-7.
George can still get him though.
They can still flip him, but how much playing time will he get? He'll be one of those guys that goes off his freshman year and transfers.
Yeah,
Let's hope.
yeah, right. I don't want him to waste away in planning.
No, no. I can understand playing in the North. You're playing for a good team, but
Mm.
like you're gonna play for a team like Eastern Michigan, dude. University of Louisiana. What are you doing? Florida
Georgia
Atlantic.
Southern. You can't tell me that he can go to Statesboro.
Yeah, I
Come on,
promise you would have a better time in Statesboro than 98% of cities in Michigan.
that's probably fair. Yeah.
Auburn beat Florida 20-17 in the swamp. Auburn in this game was up 14-0 at halftime. And Florida ended up tying the game 17-17 with about 7.5 minutes left in the game. And then Auburn hit the walk-off 43-yard field goal as time expired. Tebow actually had pretty good game. 20 of 27 for 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He carried the ball for 75 yards and a touchdown as well. The rest of the team just was doing nothing for him.
Yeah. It was him and Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin was the reason why he had of the 201 yards that Tebow had passing. Percy Harvin had 119 of those yards. They were just playing catch.
Yeah. And I mean that was the Florida I mean that was just how Florida played at the time. Um we talked about it.
And this was top four Florida team that choked away at home against a shitty Auburn team.
The swamp not as intimidating as people say. Just what's their EA
No,
ranking? What is it? for stadium
Ooh,
intimidation.
like their stadium.
Yeah,
I
we'll have
know. I
we'll
know
have to do a deep
Georgia's
dive.
two. I think State's one.
Penn
Yeah.
State one,
Hey, you know what?
Georgia
If the
two,
freaking
LSU is three. Florida's double digits somewhere
okay.
at least.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to do a deep dive on it when the game comes out.
Yeah. We're a month
So
away.
yes, what, a month and 3 days?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Um, Florida State beat number 22 Bama in Tallahassee 21-14. The touchdown that Bama scored to go 20, 21-14. The wide receiver caught the pass, got knocked out cold, and the camera zoomed in on his face. Good Lord.
He
That's
was. I mean, he was snoozing. That man was.
that's awful.
I don't.
Um,
I don't know. I don't know who the receiver was because there was a bunch of no-name guys on that team at that point. But it was. I don't think that would happen today.
no, no. Um, do you think that the early Saban years with some of these type of games is why Bama moved into playing only neutral site games against big names in the expand until the expanded playoffs?
It had to be because that was a yeah. Again, the early years was a big time struggle. I mean, they played Georgia and Florida State back to back weeks. That's wild. Back to
Yeah,
back losses too.
yeah.
Had to.
That's. I mean, it is '07 Bama who was not anywhere close to the Bama that we've known pretty much since 2008. But it's got to be the reason why up until like last year they haven't done big name games except neutral sites. And they've just gotten lucky that for pretty much every one of these
Well,
big names they've played at a neutral site, the team has been down that year.
they did do Texas on home and home the last 2 years. But
That's true.
now,
Okay.
now, yeah, now it doesn't matter because you can lose a game or two and be fine.
Yeah. But before 2022, they didn't really play any out of conference games home or away.
No, that was always neutral site like USC in Dallas or whatever. And yeah,
Yeah, and
pretty much.
honestly they got really lucky with their neutral site games. Like the year Florida State played Bama in the neutral site opener, Florida State quarterback goes down like first quarter. They're nothing without a starting quarterback, as we all know. Um,
True, yeah,
USC was on a real bad year when they played.
yeah.
The hold me back entrance, and turns out they were holding themselves back.
Mhm.
But
They beat the shit out of Michigan and in Dallas as well. I think 2 years after that USC game, I think, or maybe 2 years before, something like that.
okay, but still neutral site.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did not do home and homes really with out of conference teams.
So speaking of Michigan, they beat Northwestern 28-16 in Evanston. They were losing this game with 10 minutes left, and Chad Henne had the best game of the year with 3 touchdown passes. He became Michigan's all-time touchdown pass leader with the go-ahead touchdown. So he was back in this game and tried to remind people that he was that guy. Um, he just couldn't do it in the NFL.
Yep.
Number 9, Wisconsin barely beat Michigan State 37-34 in Camp Randall. That's not, I mean, for most of the 21st century so far, that's not something you hear very often. Most of Wisconsin's losses have come on the road.
Yeah. And that was not a very good Michigan State team. I think that was Mark D'Antonio's first year in East Lansing. So not not great.
Number 6, Cal beat number 11, Oregon and Eugene 31-24. Maryland beat the mighty Rutgers Scarlet Knights 34-24. Um, Purdue beat Notre Dame 33-19 to take the Irish to 0-5. That's what we want out of Purdue this year. Beating Notre
Yes.
Dame.
Yep, they got they got them. Let's do it. Feels
Um,
like
Number 18 Western Florida, because I can't keep calling them South Florida, upset
yeah.
number 5 West Virginia 21-13 on a Friday night game. And this is why. Rich Rod before the game called West Virginia the Yankees because they would be the biggest game on everyone's schedule, and some of the players wore Yankees hats before the game, and that's why they lost.
100%.
Because I mean, the Yankees may have been the biggest game on everyone's schedule, but they're also the most hated team on everybody's schedule. Astros
True.
are up there, but for sure the Yankees are too.
Yeah.
Pat White and Jarrett Brown split time of the game because Pat White got hurt and left the game in the second quarter. He did throw a pick six the drive before he left that game. West Virginia had 6 turnovers and USF had 4. Um, if I can find this on YouTube, I will be going back to watch it because this just sounds like a fun game.
I watched some highlights of it. It was wild. The fact that USF sold out, they were still playing their home games at the Buccaneers Stadium in Tampa.
Ray
Uh,
J, Ray J Stadium, you know?
yeah, right. They're building an on-campus stadium now, but they that was the first sellout in program history, and they won. So good for them.
Yeah. And, I talk shit about the name, Raymond James Stadium, and the name of Florida State, or South Florida, because it's not South Florida. But
Mhm.
Raymond James Stadium, if you have an opportunity to take the tour like you're in Tampa with nothing to do, it's like $15. And you get to go into the locker rooms and walk on the pirate ship and walk on the field. It's actually really cool. Um, so yeah, if you're in
Okay.
Tampa with nothing to do, and there's a really good wing spot, like a half mile away, maybe. So it's worth it. So
Okay.
we got
Noted.
go ahead. Hello.
No, I said noted. No, we'll definitely do that next time we go to that area.
Um, there's also a lot of good strip clubs in Tampa, but you'll probably be taking the kids, so you can't go there.
No, they would probably like that, but I won't do it.
Yeah, yeah. BYOB strip clubs too, so even better.
Wow. Okay. Florida man.
Uh, Unranked Colorado upset number 3 Oklahoma 27-24 in Boulder. Um, that man, Colorado's scheduling back in the day was elite.
Well, they were a Big 12 school at that point too. So like they had the opportunity to have some big games as well at that point in time. Now they're a Big 12 school all over again. But
Yeah,
yeah,
everything's a circle.
yeah.
Unranked Georgia Tech beat number 13 Clemson 13-3 in Atlanta. Clemson just Clemsoning. They did it in baseball last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. Um, and they did it in 2007.
Yeah.
UConn beat Akron 44-10. The Ron Zook led Fighting
Illini.
Illini, whatever. Um, Beat Joe Paterno's number 19 Penn State in a 27-20 game in Champaign, Illinois. Um,
Chicago.
I wonder if they have good French food there, or did they just steal the name?
I can tell you that Champaign is in the middle of a bum fucking nowhere in
So
Illinois, so I
probably
would
not.
I would doubt it. They probably say it's Chicago. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would believe that. I would. Um, Number 2 LSU beat Tulane in New Orleans 34-9. They played this game in the Superdome and auctioned off jerseys for Hurricane Katrina relief, which is awesome. It, you know what
Mhm.
we haven't even really gotten into it yet, but to what LSU did in 2007 for the efforts for Hurricane Katrina was one of the best things that's happened in sports. Like, obviously, I'm not an
Yes,
LSU fan.
absolutely.
I'm not really a fan of LSU in most things, if I'm being entirely honest. I've got
Mm.
some friends that are LSU fans. Um, but, you know, rallying around the community like that is just something I love to see every time it happens in sports.
Yes.
Mike Leach's Texas Tech Red Raiders beat Northwestern State 75-5. It wow. Okay. Um, I got confused with Northwestern and then State, and then I got even more confused with the score.
Yeah, 75-5. I didn't really look at how that happened, but it happened.
That's a football score that can happen.
It back.
Kansas State whooped number 7 Texas 41-21. Colt McCoy got sacked several times, notably not injured. Um, 19-39 for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Um, and then Kansas State's Jordy Nelson, 12 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a long punt return touchdown. Some are saying that Jordy Nelson was just Lad McConkey before Lad McConkey.
Some are saying
It would be me, and I will continue to say it.
he a lot of similarities. If you go back and watch like some of the highlights from this game, you could see how they are probably related in some way.
Yeah. And then number 1 USC escaped Washington with a 27-24 win. Good Lord, I don't know why I'm burping so much. Painful. Um, do you have any other thoughts on week 5?
No, I mean this is the first week. I mean there was some upsets in every other week that we talked about notably, but this is the first week where we had like a handful of like top 10 upsets like unranked teams. Uh, so this is where like the crazy season really kind of goes into full swing, and just every week you never know what's going to happen going forward.
Yeah. And so do you think the rankings changing as much as they did is one of the reasons that this season is so wild? Because it seemed to be that there's not
Oh,
really
it's
a
got to be.
rhyme or
Yeah.
reason for why people or why teams moved up and down as much as they did, and then a team would just vault up the rankings and then get beat and then drop all the way down.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it changed for next week. I haven't looked ahead to the post, week 5 rankings quite yet, but I have to imagine it was just like utter carnage at this point. Selfishly, Michigan may be ranked at this point just based on how crazy shit has gone. Even if losing to App State and Oregon might be a 2-2 or 3-2 top 25 team at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's you know, every time I think about, doing this series and every time we do the notes, I can't help but think that, the meme of where there's like a board meeting in an office and there's people coming up with crazy ideas and the one guy says something smart and gets thrown out the window.
Yeah.
I feel like for if they got all the AP poll voters in the room for this season and one guy was like, "Hey, we should take the team's entire body of work into account." He's the guy that got thrown out the window.
All right. It really was like the transitive property thing at that point, or maybe not. Again, I'm not a math guy. Just what have you done for me lately? The previous weeks had no bearing on what we how the rankings shaked out, really.
Yeah, the AP poll so wild this year. I mean, that's obviously part of why the season is seen the way as it is. But I mean, so much confirmation bias in this, and then once the team loses, they're just like, okay, I don't like you anymore.
really like the thing from the meme from Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. And drops Woody down the ground.
Yeah. Um, but so we recorded early last week, didn't get to talk about Georgia baseball, and then I was busy last week, worked late pretty much every day, so I do want to talk about it for just a minute. And it sucks that Georgia's not currently playing, this week. But Wes Johnson, with the transfers he got in and the guys that were still on the team, took a team that was 11 and 19 in conference play in 2022 or 2023, I should say, to a team that hosted a regional and a super regional in 2024. And does it suck that Charlie Condon didn't get to
Yeah,
continue his season? He's probably going off to Major League Baseball. I'll be honest, he's stupid if he doesn't. Um, Corey Collins ending his career on a loss. It sucks. It does. I'm not going to sit here and try and gaslight you guys into thinking
yeah,
that it's all sunshine and rainbows and oh, it's a moral victory. It's not a moral victory. It's a legitimate victory to go from a doormat in the SEC where you're losing games 19-17 with a bases loaded walk in the ninth inning to doing what they did this year.
yeah,
Like the best way I can say it for us being primarily a football podcast is this was Georgia baseball's 2017 season.
yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good comp. Yeah,
Like, sh- should they have been like at the beginning of the season? We talked to Chris Phillips about it. Georgia had the potential to make some waves, but nobody thought they were going to do it. Like you had talent
yeah. They
up
were
and
picked.
down.
I think
Do what?
they were picked like 12th in the SEC in the preseason, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And going back to that 2017 comp, they didn't really have pitchers at the start of the season. Ended up calling relievers in to start, just like Jake Fromm got called off the bench week one. Made it as far as that team possibly could have with with the hand they were dealt. So, does it suck that it's over already? Absolutely. Would
yeah,
I rather be calling out of work to watch a 2 p.m. Georgia baseball game? 100%. But at the same time, dude, I'm just happy we got here. Cause no,
absolutely. Hmm?
in our wildest dreams, I remember in our group chat getting swept by Kentucky in the first SEC series. Everybody was just, oh, it's over. Good run, guys. That was a fun couple of weeks.
Right.
Made
Yeah,
it all the way
that's
to
how it was.
made it to hosting a super regional. So we can only maintain the expectation of doing better than we have. You know,
Absolutely. I mean, this is kind of like Georgia basketball, the way they ended the season. Hopefully, they have some momentum going into next year. Same thing with Georgia baseball. Obviously, you have to compensate for losing Charlie Condon more than likely, but I mean, this is hopefully the start of a run for Georgia baseball and basketball for that matter.
Georgia baseball is currently number one in recruiting rankings for 2025
There
with
we go.
transfers and high school kids. So with one of if not the best pitching coach in college baseball as the head coach, pitching will get there. Give it some time.
Right.
Hitting's already there. You know, it sucks we have to wait until February, March time to actually see it in action, but I'm excited.
Oh yeah. No, it should be. It's Georgia's just not a football school anymore. We're an everything school.
Yeah. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Nothing Finder podcast. As always, follow us on social media at nothing.finder.pod on Instagram, at finderpod on Twitter. Facebook and YouTube, just search us there. You'll find us. Nothing Finder Podcast on TikTok. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Always remember, guys, there is nothing finer in the land.
Then a drunken bastard Georgia fan.